the more blue collar or, you know, service oriented jobs or things like that, or anything in retail, which is the biggest employer in the country now, we still have to work. So it's a bank holiday, but it is to honor a great American. Not to get in a huge debate about that with anybody who disagrees, but that's how I feel. So hopefully some of you have the day off and can hang out. I don't think there's school today. I think that's another perk. But hopefully means that you guys can hang out, watch some Magic Duels, and relax, and be grateful that once upon a time there was a guy who was, you know, passionate enough about what he believed in to speak his mind and change the world. Do I have any tips for new players for this game? Play. Play the game. Play Magic. Play Duels. Play Paper Magic. Play any kind of Magic. That's my advice. This game is deeper than you really will realize for a very long time, and the only way you'll get better at it is playing. Looks like we got a rank 40, so let's see what they've got up their sleeve. Maybe we can get a good matchup here. I did say that this was built to beat other ramp decks. Hopefully we're up against other ramp decks. Hello, Nighthawk. Welcome. Thanks for coming out. Nighthawk has a YouTube channel that you guys should look up. I think you can find it by searching by his handle there, Night_Hawk233. It is a somewhat comical channel, just because of some of the ridiculous things Nighthawk does while playing Magic, but I love his attitude. He always has a good time. Alright. Well, if you have a wild size, I just want you to play it, so let's see what you do. Yep. Nope. Pilgrimage, yep. So we're probably on a mono green ramp here, and the biggest problem with that will be if they take out our only island, but we drew another Gate Creeper, so we're okay there, and we definitely want to moss them before they moss us. Although hitting that pilgrimage means they can moss us this turn, and there's not much we can do about it, but thankfully we can at least go get the other island with Gate Creeper. If we don't get mossed, there's going to be trouble, because we've got options. Options coming. Yeah, here he comes again. The little visionary that could. If you want to wild size, that is fine with me. Yep. I personally would not, if you're looking for tips, don't run pump spells like wild size in your green ramp deck. You can probably do bigger and way more amazing things. Every card in your deck could be a different card, and every time that you pick a card that doesn't have nearly the huge effect that another card does, that's probably where you're making a mistake. So we've got options. We can flip Nissa here, and with Nissa's renewal, and really set up our future turns, or we can Drowner of Hope, and both are really good. I think the worst thing that we could do here is like Drowner of the Hope and then lose an island to Acid Moss and then have him play Gaia's Revenge or something like that. That makes Drowner less good a turn or two later. And, I mean, we have recovery from all of that. These are all good options. But I am really tempted to Renewal because I just want to set up my mana for the rest of the game. I want to be ready to displacement wave whatever he does and have huge turns. And I want to flip Nissa. So, we're going with this one. Why? It's my channel, and I make the plays. Rawr. Alright. It's also probably really safe to make a 4-4, but because we have a deck with so many awesome cards in it, drawing a card off the top can sometimes be much better than just a 4-4. So, in this deck, I almost always tick up, although I think, in general, people tick up too often when they should make a 4-4. But, in this deck, you know, we can draw a 10-10, so that makes it a pretty good gamble. Primal Bellow. You gonna take out Nissa? Looks like Nissa's going down. Oh well. At least we ate one of the Primal Bellows. You gave me the life gain deck, right? Amil. Mil. Yeah, you gave me a life gain deck. When I get around to doing a life gain deck, which I do agree, kind of janky, but when I get around to doing some kind of life gain deck, I'll make sure I put it in there. I do have some ideas of what I would do with it, and I'm sure you're eager to check that out. So maybe I'll be able to get to that this week. I'm gonna try to do like a series with a different deck every day, and see if I can keep it up. One of the biggest problems with playing, the same deck for a week, like Hakeem and Mobius do, is I don't have the patience. I'm over a deck so fast if it's not working well, or if I think I've done everything I can with it, but it still doesn't. I'm so over that deck that I don't want to play it anymore, perhaps ever. So if I can do one video a day of me playing 7 to 10 games with a deck and then move on to a different deck the next day, I think that's more my speed. I go through, my attention span for Magic goes by pretty fast. So let's see what our opponent can do. They've ramped up, they've got a lot going for them, and it looks like the answer is more ramp. So it's really safe to assume that there's going to be something like an Ulamog to come wreck our day. And if that's going to be the case, we're going to need to get this game over with quickly, because we are not drawing the part of our deck that is effective in that battle. Ugh. Let's see. So I think we're going to play the Clutch of Currents haste game. Let me show you the Clutch of Currents haste game here. This is going to force our opponent to do something next turn, or die. And we have Drowner to tap some things down. Now, if what they do is Ulamog, we pretty much are in trouble. And I think in order to do Ulamog here, he has to have Ulamog in hand already, which is likely, considering the way the game has gone. And he has to have the land. Okay. And there's a Plague Crusher. That's fine. I think that's fine. We can't tap it down. We can Displacement Wave it. Let's see what we draw. It is going to be a good Displacement Wave turn. Okay. So Displacement Wave will bounce everything except for the 3/3 land, which can then get in and do some more damage. But that doesn't change what's going to happen the turn afterwards. So we're actually behind it a bit right now, unfortunately. Our draw really, we got up in mana, like big, but it really didn't work out from there. So, what can we best do? I do think we want to reset the board of all this material. Obviously Ulamog isn't in the hand, or he would have cast that, so we want to keep him away from that, so Displacement Wave with From Beyond does take care of that particular problem. Okay, so here's what we're going to do then. Let me just think this out. We can tap down those two and attack with these, and then he still takes 3, so it's the same thing. So that doesn't do the job. We can't tap down the hexproof creature. So, alright, we're going to do it like this. Make sure we use our colorless mana, and make sure we don't use all of our blue mana. Man tapping is just atrocious. Alright. See, now if we draw another Displacement Wave off the top, that can wrap up the game. We are going to need to draw some gas, though. We've got him on the back foot, but we need to break through a Plated Crusher. Ha! Do I ever, out of curiosity, Nighthawk says, out of curiosity, do you ever just piss about in duels and build terrible decks with fun cards? Typically, if I piss about and build a deck that is terrible, I will then immediately delete it and never build it again and never even play it. Maybe I'll play 1 or 2 games. Most of the time, no, I don't. It's just not, I don't know, it's not in my nature. I can't do it. There's Ulamog. So either he drew it this turn or chose not to play it last turn. Either way, that's weird, and this board is fine for Ulamog. I'm actually really glad that this got to stay in my hand now. So no, I don't usually, the game for me really is about, that's clutch. That's clutch. Okay. The game for me very much is about, finding what the best decks to play are and finding how to use the best strategies. It is not about, seeing if a certain fun card can be fun. I leave that to other people very much. Now, sometimes a fun card can break through and be part of a good deck, and I'll try those things, but man, some cards when you read them and I'm just like, no. No, thank you. No, I don't mess around with cards like that very often. I do try to build just about every conceivable deck in the game. I mean, I try a lot of them. And hello, Babs, welcome. And yes, I'm very much Covert Ghost Spike, and, I like it that way. I was talking to DJ from NGA the other day. We were in some party chat, and we were playing some games, and he was asking me, do you ever play, like there was some, I'm trying to remember, it was like a Rakdos aggro or Simic tempo, and I was telling them those decks are just bad in this format. And he was asking me, if I, build and play those, and I do. But it's very important to kind of know your goals, and if your goal is just to try out a certain card because you like it, or to play with certain colors because you like those colors or themes, or build a processor deck, that's cool. Do that, but don't expect to win when you go up against against Gruul Ramp, and don't expect to beat mono red aggro. People only play those decks because they really like to win, and in any given format there are probably about 5 decks that are really good and capable of beating each other and beating the rest of the field pretty handily. And what I enjoy about Magic isn't, the ocean of other decks out there. What I enjoy about Magic is taking those 5 decks and trying to find the minor tweaks within them and tuning those decks so that they're better and better against each other, or finding that outlier deck that can come in and beat 3 or 4 of those decks and then break in to that top 5. So that's what I like to do with Magic, and that's how I like to do it. That is the game within the game for me. Some people can't do that, and that's fine. If they can't play, if Abzan isn't one of the best decks, then they'll just keep playing Abzan no matter what, because those are their colors, and they love messing with their graveyard and playing green things, and I don't know. That's not me. I can't do that. I have to be playing with, the best colors and the best options that I can find. And if something can't compete after I've done all I can with it, that color combination just, in my opinion, isn't meant for this meta, and it's kind of dead to me. And I'll say things when people ask me, about a black-white vampire deck. I'll just be like, it's bad. You can't beat the other decks. So that's kind of how I roll. Maybe it gives you some insight into what I'm looking for. When people send me decks to check out and they want my advice on them, sometimes they'll be disappointed, and I'll say, well, thanks for sending me the deck, and my opinion is that it will never beat these decks, and I've tried that deck and I've done all I can with it, so I'm not going to give it a lot more thought. That's kind of the way I am. Just how I roll. Although you're welcome to send me those decks, Maybe sometime I will find something that I can tweak just a little bit to make it more competitive, and then we'll have something awesome. Yeah, Bab says that Abzan is always the best color combo. Well, that was a terrible example. It was the first thing that came to my mind, and it was stupid, Babs. Complete disregard for Jace. That's not cool. Alright, so maybe an Esper control list, which means they could have a Felidar Cub, but they likely don't have a lot to deal with this. So this is what we'll do. And we'll go right up the chain. We're not going to slow down for a second. We're going to try to drop 8/8 on him.